She set the standard for fear in films in her 1973 leading role in The Exorcist, and now, nearly 40 years later, that role continues to define and shape the career of actress and activist Linda Blair, who we are so happy to have with us here at the Wall Street Journal. How are you?
I am so excited to be here. Love the Wall Street Journal.
Well, we love to hear that, and you're all dressed for Halloween in black. And speaking of Halloween, you've become the spokesperson for Reader's Digest new collection of scary music. It's called Be Afraid of the Dark. Now, the main theme song from The Exorcist is on there, Tubular Bells. When you hear that, does it transport you back to being in that movie?
You know, I think that Tubular Bells is one of the most beautiful pieces of music ever written, and that's what is so interesting is the minute that anybody hears it, and it's such a simple beginning, but you know immediately what the music is too.
Your role in that movie, something of a blessing and a curse. I mean, of course, it made you very famous, but it somewhat pigeonholed you very early in your career to that certain type of role. And I'm wondering, have you ever regretted playing that role? Would you prefer that your first role that young had been like a Disney princess or some such?
Well, it's funny you say that because when I was a child, all I wanted to be was a Disney
like a princess,
child actor.
Right.
So that was the deal, was that I'd be going to California, and they were preparing me to be in the Disney films, which is what's so funny because
you end up right.
And it's one of the reasons I was chosen for The Exorcist, because I had the look.
The look. Which the look changes throughout the film.
Well, yes, it does.
Quite a bit.
It does.
I mean, do people still come up to you on the streets? I mean, and say, you're the fans. Do they come up to you and say, like, can you make your head spin around? Do you get that sort of thing?
Once in a while, but it's more, a lot of people, it's just the eye recognition, and sometimes, oh my God, you know.
Do you ever see young people playing roles in movies and you think, oh my gosh, I've been there, and you wonder sort of how this is going to affect them going forward?
Yes.
Do you ever sort of worry for them a little bit? Yeah?
I think I see it more in the music industry.
Music.
And you want to reach out and say, no,
right.
Don't do that. You know, I do. I see that a lot.
Things got rough for you after that role a little bit in your later teens. You were arrested on drug charges. You were sentenced at one point to 3 years of probation. Was it hard to kickstart your career acting after those things happened?
What I was put through and prosecuted for is really unacceptable, and in today's times it wouldn't be. So it did put a huge halt on my career because I was judged for it. Now it's like, oh, embrace somebody.
And that's a lot of pressure going on at a time when you're, you're 19, 20 years old. I want to talk about now how that has, you know, maybe some of those events have shifted to what you're doing now. You have started this rescue foundation, the Linda Blair World Heart Foundation, which rescues animals. I mean, do you think some of the stress of that led to you wanting to save these animals and the stress that they're under? I mean, do you see any correlation there?
Everybody knows I'm anti-dog fighting, of course, but I fight for the pit bulls because they're misunderstood. I was misunderstood. The prejudice against them, I know what that's like.
Now, you're in good shape, you say, because you're working with we're working with all the dogs. I'm not going to arm wrestle you here. But it's Halloween. We can't get away without, we'd asked you for some of your favorite horror films, and some of them you gave The Exorcist and Repossession, 2 of your films.
No, Repossessed with Leslie Nielsen.
Right, Repossessed.
It's a must-see.
Must-see. House on Haunted Hill, Night of the Living Dead, Bride of the Monster. These are the 5 that came from you. I wonder if in Hollywood in general, do you think they are doing a good job with horror movies, with fear in movies, or do you think we're missing something simple that you tapped into in The Exorcist?
Well, the reason that I'd pick those films, A, of course, The Exorcist, and B, because Repossessed is you know, one of my films, and it's funny. And that was why I picked those. I do think going back to the classics and the black and white, there's a lot to it, to people's imagination, the fear factor. Some people want to go that extra step and they want to see more, and that's why you have some types of horror films that are a little more bloody, let's say, and then you have other ones that you just don't know what is going on. That seems to be becoming very, very topical recently.
Popular genre.
Yes.
Now, last question. When's the last time you watched The Exorcist?
Pretty much I see it the entire month of October.
You mean
It's just constantly playing. If I'm around, it's playing.
Do you have a favorite part in the film?
I have the one that I find especially fantastic is with Ellen Burstyn, when she's right there and she's talking about what do I want to do for my birthday. And we're talking about the director and that she might have a crush on somebody. It's the most intimate and beautiful scene, and it's because she's the most extraordinary actress on this planet.
Linda Blair, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.